Okay, we are now recording. Our service is beginning. Welcome and greetings to everyone. This is Unity Spiritual Center of Panama City. I'm RHoldaway, the spiritual leader, and LUT here, and this is our online presence for Sunday, July the 19th. It's such a blessing to see those on Zoom live here. You see your smiling faces. Somebody said in our opening as we were talking that it's so good to see everyone, and it really is good to see your face. And so welcome. And if you are going to watch this later on YouTube, we'll have this recording up on YouTube. So we say welcome to you, and we're honored that you're with us. So whether you're new to our spiritual community or visiting a frequent visitor or visiting us here online just for the first time, we welcome you, and we're honored that you've taken your time to listen to this online service. For we know everyone is welcome here at our center and Unity in general, for we affirm God loves everyone. There's no exceptions. How could it be any other way? And even in this time of polarization that seems to be getting worse, we know that that's the truth, and we affirm that that's the truth. For the same life energy that flows through each of us flows through everyone, regardless of race, gender, religion, orientation, sexual orientation, and then it's all the same energy. And then whatever we affirm here in Unity, that whatever name you use for God, whether it be spirit, breath, allness, ground of being, we know that God by any name in Unity leaves no one out. So we're welcome and honored by your presence here with us today in this online service. So let's take just a minute and open with prayer. I found a prayer that's We'll talk about this in a little bit. This is a prayer by Viola, and I'll butcher the last name, Lewicki. That's the author of the talk that we're going to do a little later. You'll get into that. But here's a prayer for her I found that she had written. So just take a minute to center yourself and pause and listen to these beautiful words. Good morning, dear God. Thank you for this day, a new, clean, freshly illumined day in which I can live and learn and love and give and grow. I trust you utterly today to pour your love through me all day long, so that I have a plentiful supply of strength, wisdom, and substance to live every moment at its best. I thank you for this gift of another day in which to serve you. Good morning, dear God. And so it is. I just thought, even in the times the troubling times that we're having, there's so much in the news. That was a beautiful prayer that we can say, even in these times of chaos and confusion, we can say these beautiful prayers and really find peace within. So, Unity teaches universal spiritual principles and practices that can be applied to any faith tradition. We teach practical metaphysics, which is about developing and supporting the business or our knowledge, if you will, of fully expressing our God nature, which we call in Unity our Christ self. We learn our ego must surrender to the divine essence within. And then we awaken to this inner wisdom. We learn best when we live from within out. And the creed of our heart, we affirm today, is our religion is oneness, our God is love, our race is human. And many of us on this call and that I'm looking at here on Zoom will affirm that these practical teachings will change your life and has changed many of our lives. If you're new to Unity or need a refresher on our core principles and teachings, please visit our website at unityofpanamacity.org. And as we continue in these times of social and physical distancing, more physical distancing than we like to say, I invite you to stay tuned with us in all the Zoom calls. I know it can be Zoom overload at times. It seems like that we're doing a lot of that, and we are, just to stay in touch with each other. So you can join us 6 p.m. for a Course of Miracles facilitated by Rose Flora. 6 p.m. on Tuesdays. 11 a.m. Guided meditation. And then also, if you feel led, you can join me and others for coffee and chat, for midweek coffee and chat at 8 o'clock in the morning. I know that may be too early for a few of you, but if you like getting up early and you're up already and you have your coffee, join us at 8 o'clock. There we can share what's ever on your heart, your mind, so that you can touch base with your spiritual community, stay in touch. So join us for these Zoom calls. You know, for me, if staying in touch with these, we're just overwhelmed with the flux of information. There's even more. It's hard to believe every day can be a new crisis, but seems like the world we're living in. So by staying in touch with Zoom, even if you come in for a few minutes and want to touch base, you're welcome to do so at any time. And then from your spiritual community, you should have all received a new booklet this week, the Unity booklet, Worthy, LGBTQ Stories of Overcoming Rejection and Religion to Find Truth. So this booklet is devoted to inclusivity. Even though we're using the examples for the LGBTQ community that are listed in the book, it's really about inclusion. I put in the little letter to you in the booklet, you know, this is about radical inclusion. There can't be a religion today, I don't think, that's going to be sustainable if it doesn't practice radical inclusion. So that's what we're going to talk about. The stories in the booklet are just are wonderful, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as you enjoyed the other ones. We'll be using that book as a theme for our August Sunday talks. Also, the board is discussing reconvening in person with ourselves and with the leaders in the Temple B'nai Israel congregation. And as of right now, we have nothing new to share with you about new dates or anything like that. So Bob is leading that effort, that communication. Bob Floor is leading that with Mike Startman over at the Temple. So, but as soon as if we have any more dates about that, we'll be sure to give you a call. I mention every week that, you know, the board this year we have a benevolence fund. We've approved funds to assist our Unity community. So if you have financial needs, please let me know. We'll get the process started and see if it's appropriate for us to share these funds together with you. It's just a way of reaching out to our community. So if you know of anybody that needs help or you need help, just please get back with me and let me know. And you can also let me know via email or you can go online and post a prayer request directly. I hope you'll take advantage of that and keep the prayer requests coming. We get a few every week, but don't, if you need prayer, let us know, and we'll be glad to hold the high watch and hold you in prayer throughout these troubling times. I can't say enough about the ones of you who have continued to bless our spiritual community with your tithes and offering. It's humbling in this time to be a part of your presence as you continue to bless us. And you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can mail your checks into the Unity of Panama City, P.O. Box 16046. That address is on the website, or you can go to the website and hit the donate button. So, but it's allowed us to donate some money to Meals on Wheels and Food for Kids, and the board is in conversation about talking about other ways that we need to help as part of our spiritual community. So we'll keep you posted about all that. But as you continue to bless us with your tithes and offerings, like I say, it humbles me to be a part of that you continue to support us. We're doing okay. We're keeping donations are a little low, but we're keeping our expenses down. So we're doing good because of your continued support. So I know you don't have your check with you or your donation in your hand, but let's put our hands together and in your mind, imagine that this is the gift that we freely give. We're given to the source as we say our divine affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. So today I'm going to read the daily word from a few years ago that I found that's appropriate for where we are. It's just amazing how you can find these things that speaks to our times today. So take a breath and get comfortable in your chair as we go into the part of our service where we get to raise our consciousness to the one presence and one power in our life, and listen to these words from the daily word. The affirmation is, I am divine. My life is prayer in action. I am divine. My life is prayer in action. Unity author James Dillett Freeman wrote, prayer is a reaching, and every act of prayer stretches the soul. Let me read that again. Prayer is a reaching, and every act of prayer stretches the soul. I reach inward to my divine identity, which improves the quality of my personality. I do this at the beginning and ending my day with quiet time of prayer, reflection, and gratitude for the truths I know and use. In between, I observe expressions of the divine in nature and the kindness of others. I set an intention to be a blessing wherever I am. These are acts of prayer, actions that arise from my divine nature. I acknowledge the presence and power of my divine identity within my consciousness. Breathing deeply, I am grateful for the powers of understanding, wisdom, and will, useful for knowing what to think, say, and do. I recognize the power of life energizes every cell of my body. I open to divine ideas and creative ways to use them. I radiate love and peace from the core of my beingness. My life is prayer in action. So hold this affirmation in your mind as I say it a couple times. I am divine. My life is prayer in action. I am divine. My life is prayer in action. And so it is. So let's begin to rest more comfortably in our chair and feel our chair fully support us as we hear this song, Take a Breath.
Ron, I'm not hearing any song.
Usually do. Let me try that again. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
Turn, unmove, unplug, unplay, unmade.
Sorry about that. Here we go.
Take a breath, take a seat, take a moment, and just be. Here you are, that's enough. Give yourself permission to unplug. Unplug, unlearn, unwind.
That audio is not cooperating today. It keeps cutting out. Could y'all hear that last part of the song I was playing? Could you hear it? Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. If it doesn't work this time, we'll move on. Let's try this.
Take a breath, take a seat, take a moment, and just be. Here you are, that's enough. Give yourself permission to unplug. Unplug, unlearn, unwind, unyearn, unseen, unturn, unmove. Unplug, unplay, unmade, unsay, unseen, unthink, undo. Take a breath for yourself, just for you. And I want now. Feel the quiet, feel the love, feel the peace. When you unplug, unplug, unlearn, unwind, unlearn, unsee, unturn, unmove, unplug, unplay, unmade, unsay, unseen, unthink, undo. Unplug, unrush, unplay, untouch, unpush, unplan, unfold. Take a breath, take a seat, take a moment, and just be.
So continue to stay in this place of rest and peace just for a few moments. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to close your outer eyes, feel the chair fully supporting your bodies, and just relax and be, just for a few moments to be. Take a deep breath in as we start. Feel your whole body lift up and rise up into consciousness. And then exhale and just release and relax fully into your chair. Another deep breath in and just relax, and then relax on the exhale. As you continue breathing, focus your attention on that space between the inhale and the exhale. Turn your conscious attention to that space. Inhale and exhale deeply. And then as you begin to rest fully and more completely, just let your breathing turn to normal, but be conscious of the breath. We focus on the breath as a way to help thoughts float by as we set in a few moments of meditation to rest fully into this presence of where God lives and moves and has being in each one of us. And now I invite you to, as you breathe more deeply, focus onto the heart center. And just breathe into that space and relax fully your whole body. For this breath that we breathe is God, is the life of God. The life of God, of the universe, flowing in you, through you, and as you. Even the slightest knowledge of breathing and awareness of breathing is praying without ceasing, mindfulness of the one presence and one power. It is the awareness of the divinity that God is and is you, as you. Touch that space in this now moment. This intuitive knowing of who you are. Again, breathe deeply and fully. And as you sit in this meditation, if the thoughts come, let's let them float by like balloons floating by in the sky. Just let them float by. Nothing to judge, nothing to do or be with the phone, with your phone or with any thoughts. Just let them float by, just for a few moments. For as we'll learn just a little later in this service, we'll learn that this is the secret of your power. This is the true secret of power within you right now and everywhere and every day and every minute. So be in this place of your secret power right now. Rest fully in the silence for just a few moments. I'll watch the time. And just be in the silence. Continue to remain in this peaceful place of rest and awareness and intuitive knowing that you are an eachness in the allness of life, complete, whole, healed, no separation, no duality. Intuitive knowing that you are each, an eachness in the allness of life. Know that for yourself right now and for every day. And you can return to this place at any time. We rest in the silence to know that no matter the chaos or confusion on the outer, that I am submerged in peace. I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. Take another deep breath and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and roll your neck, just to return your attention to this time and place. And know that you can take this peace that we gain from this rest at any time with us. So we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, sweet spirit. So it is. And when you're comfortable, you can open your eyes and return your attention to this time and space as we continue. So we're talking about the article in the book, if you've read it, from the booklet that we've been talking about for the month of July, The Comfort of Prayer. And I've heard from several of you that this book has, this booklet has brought a lot of comfort and joy, and it has for me too. And so today we're talking about The Secret of Power by Viola Lukowicki. And I found out that she is she was a minister that started the Unity Church in Palm Springs. But that was years ago, so I haven't seen anything recently from her, but that's who she is. And she starts out this article, if you've read it, The Secret of Power. And the faux pas that I kept making while I was studying this is I would say The Secret of Prayer. And I would describe the article as The Secret of Prayer, which they tend to go hand in hand, the secret, as we'll learn as we talk about this. She talks about human beings. Her opening sentence says, human beings have long searched for the secret of power. And searching for this secret seems to be what we all do and what we all wish to make us happy. So a question for you today: have you spent your life searching and seeking for ways to make you happy? Have you searched for the secret power to make you happy or satisfied with your life? To have enough money, to have enough fame. So have you done that? And if so, how have you searched and where have you searched for this secret power for you to find this place? And you may remember this ancient Hindu story. It's because we're talking about this secret power that we're all looking for. You may remember the Brahma, the chief god. There were many gods, and at the time, all humans were believed to be God, lesser gods, and Brahma was the chief god in the Hindu faith. So the lesser gods, but man had abused the divinity, abused its identity, so the gods decided to hide it from man, to take it away. And when I say man, I mean humankind. That's the way they talked about the legend or the story. So the lesser gods said, we'll bury the man's divinity deep in the earth. And Brahma said, no, man would find it. He would start digging and he would eventually find it. Then they said, well, we'll bury the man's divinity, the secret of his divinity, in the deepest ocean. Brahma said, nope, no way, because eventually they'll go diving and they'll find it in the deepest ocean. Then the god says, well, we'll put it on the highest mountain. climb, put it up at the highest mountain. And Brahma said, no, that won't work either, because they'll eventually climb the highest mountain. And as the legend would have it, now they have. We know that's the fact. And then Brahma said, and he thought, and he told the lesser gods, he said, we will hide man's divinity deep inside himself, for he will never think to look for it there. And then the legend continues by saying man is digging, or has been digging and diving, exploring, searching, and climbing for something, looking for something that's already inside of himself. And the parallel in this ancient Hindu story, as I started thinking about it, and Eric Butterworth talks about this too, in Discover the Power Within You, that the story of Jesus's life beginning 2,000 years ago is so parallel to this ancient Hindu story, in the fact that in the movement that of Jesus, that came after Jesus, that sprang up in his name, in Jesus's name, the divinity of man, for the most part, is still the secret of the ages. My personal story about this is, I've shared with you several times, but losing or not finding or not knowing that the divinity was within me, it was always because of the evangelical and Protestant upbringing. There was always something outside. There was a God outside that I had to please, which was impossible, or at least that's the message that came to me, because I wasn't worthy enough to be a part of that. So for years in my life, particularly in my early adult life, I struggled to find my identity that I had either misplaced or was not aware that existed. And for many years of wallowing through life, that was my destiny. That's what I call it. Now, I'm not suggesting that I was depraved of stuff and, the traditional trappings of what we see in our society today, particularly here in the U.S. or, in the West. I graduated from college, got a great engineering job after college, raised a family. I reached some level of success and expertise, yet I was still searching, because there was a hole in my soul, is the way I describe it. Just a hole right through the center of my being. So I was searching. Of course, I had no way of knowing that it was already inside of me. Hadn't been taught that, hadn't been exposed to that, and had no idea. And so I kept looking outside. Well, you can't find it outside. I discovered instantly I couldn't find it outside. I tried to fill this hole in my soul with every addiction that you can think of. And obviously, the answer, it didn't work. Luckily, and it's not luck, it's I'm not sure how to describe that, because it's not divine order in the sense that God was stirring it up with a finger looking down on me. But I survived, because my first awakening to this secret power that occurred within me was after Thanksgiving in 1987. I stood in a conference room in Vanderbilt Hospital, looking out a window, and I prayed for the first time in years, God help me. That's the only thing that could come out of my mouth. And I was just, I guess what they say is I'd hit the bottom. But that was the first conscious memory of me praying in years and years and years. And I remember it so vividly. This was the beginning of a 33-year journey to find my secret power. And it started with a journey into the 12-step program and recovering from addiction. And then finding the community and the teachings of Unity shortly thereafter. I think after less than 3 years, it was about 2.5 years, I found Unity. And so the teachings for me, the Unity teachings paralleled the 12-step, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous perfectly. And it changed my life. And many of you have already said that's what it is, but what it's done for you too. And the fact that it was the way I started remembering my secret power. So what are the memorable prayers in your life where you recognized the divinity within you? What are those prayers that we remember? Most of us do. Is it celebration of a new life in your family? A marriage, celebrating a marriage or joining? Celebration with your family members during times of transition? Or just the joy of living with your family, growing up and living? So a lot of times we don't realize those are prayers of celebration until later in life. But usually we all have something memorable that sticks with us, that stays with us. We know a couple of examples here in our community. Bill has talked about his memorable prayers a couple of times about his life, and it's always inspiring when we hear about this from other people. So I invite you to send me an email of those if you can share. If you have anything that you'd like to share, I won't share them with the group, but unless you say we can. But just what is the memorable prayer in your life, or prayers in your life, that have caused you to know and to at least search and to start realizing that the divinity of what you're searching for is within? So in her article, The Secret of Prayer, Viola quotes Emily Cady from Lessons in Truth. And if you haven't read Lessons in Truth lately, that's a good place to start to know your divinity and know the truth about yourself. In daily meditation, she says, lies the secret of power. So let me read that, just one paragraph from the article that she says right after that. Does the sentence say we must get out, fight, and struggle and strain for power? Does it say we must, by hook or crook, get more money or bombs or guns or a bigger business or house or car or company that anyone else before us could have power? Does it suggest anything outside of ourselves can give us power? And again, what Emily Cady said, in daily meditation lies the secret of power. In daily meditation lies the secret of power. Now, it wouldn't have been too many years ago or before 1987 that I would have probably argued with you about that and said, oh, that's not true. There's nothing that's just not true. That's not the way it is. It has to do with your success and how you look outside. That was a big thing for me, is how you look. You couldn't admit that there was anything wrong. I couldn't admit to anybody that I was walking around with a hole in my soul, because it was too important to look good and smell good on the outside. So what's your reaction to Emily Cady's statement, in daily meditation lies the secret of power? Do you agree now in your life where you are today? Do you slightly agree or very strongly agree? So I think a lot of us, and I say this at the opening of these services, that New Thought teachings have changed many of our lives because of our understanding of God and prayer and our relationship to God. I'm grateful for these teachings in my life. Very grateful. It's just opened up a whole new world for me. And as I've been around in Unity since 1990 or so, it's amazing that how many traditional or how many books now, like John Chevy Spong and Rob Bell and Brian McLaren, I could go on and on and on, Dominic Crossan, Matthew Fox, they all have come out, if you will. They've all come out, and the teachings are such that God is within. The divinity of man is the secret of the ages. Eric Butterworth talks about it. Charles Fillmore talks about it. Charles Fillmore says the real search of all people is God, and my paraphrase of that is their own divinity. We have so many hangups about in our language about God and religion. So the real search for all people is to know their self, know their divinity. And he says, so the real search for all people is God. They may think they are looking for other things, but they must eventually admit that it is God they seek. That's what Charles Fillmore says. So it's important for me to know what meditation, so does the word and images of meditation bring up some mystical word, or has it in the past? It may have changed in your mind these days, but gurus setting in painful poses to do something that is still foreign to many people in the West. The Western Church, Catholic traditional church particularly, has introduced different terms for meditation because of the connotation that we in the West have about the, meditation being from the East and from Buddhism or Hinduism, that it's something that you got to sit in a funny pose to do. So the Western Church introduced terms like contemplation, centering prayer, silence, and all are just coded words for meditation. The books on centering prayer, for example, all even say in there that you're using that word so that it doesn't have you don't create a block in your mind for sitting in the silence, that you can contemplate on the words and thoughts of God. And that's the key, is that you think of God as you go into meditation. That's what it's for, is to know God within us. The Buddhist teaching teaches it as a mindfulness, to be constantly mindful of the divinity within us. And as I said in meditation, I heard a speaker not long ago, that every time you take a breath, an inhale and an exhale, you are experiencing God in you, moving and living and moving and having being as you. This is the mindfulness. You can be mindful of God as you wash the dishes or sweep the floor or wash your car. You can be mindful, stay in that mindful presence of the divinity within you. In 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, it says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. Pray without ceasing. There's been thousands and thousands of sermons and interpretations of what does that mean. How do you pray without ceasing? Sounds like mindfulness to me. Again, there's only one truth: mindfulness. Pray without ceasing. The other, you could even take it further. Some of the tradition says, pray until the prayer praise you. Pray until the prayer praise you. And that's just simply a knowing, that intuitive knowing that God lives and moves and has being in you. So Viola says meditation simply means to take an idea and to think about it. In this context, we know in New Thought, we think about God, to form and answer the questions of who am I and what's my relationship to this God. It's something that we are constantly doing to seek. Good is synonymous with God. Everything is good. Meditate on this thought. Good is synonymous with God. That's all, if you meditate on nothing but that, because contained in that one thought is all power, all life, and all love, and all wisdom, and all substance in you right now and in every moment. So one more paragraph to read here. Can you believe this means you? When I say that, and you, contained within you is all power, all life, all love. She says, can you believe this means you, even though at the moment you find yourself sick and lonely, poor and afraid? Meditate on the idea of God in you. God power within you right now, able to heal you, able to provide companionship and food and whatever else you need. Meditate on the idea of God being forever right in the midst of you. Then ask yourself this question, which I think is so appropriate. She put this in there for us right now. What is there to fear? What is there to fear? And think about this occasionally, not just occasionally, but daily, day after day, faithfully, pray without ceasing. So my prayer for you today is to find the secret of your prayer within yourself as you develop a daily practice of prayer, meditation, and rest in the silence. Pray without ceasing. Let your goal in life be the prayer praying you. Prayer praying you. Yeah, keep this booklet close by you as a reminder. The secret of prayer is within you. And from the booklet, I've said that this poem a couple times this week from Frank Whitney. God and I. It's titled God and I. I walked with God. God walked with me. But which was God and which was me? And thus I found the truth profound. I live in God. God lives in me. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. I see all those Zoom claps. Thank you. So unmute yourself, if you will. And we always do this. It's a little confusing, but I like to do this to say the prayer for protection in closing together. So we hear the energy, if you will, of all that together. So I'll say let's try it this way. I'll say the line and then you join me. Then you join and say it after me. We'll try that and see if that sounds, how that sounds. So the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
The
power of God protects us.
The presence of God watches over us.
The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Wherever we
are,
God is, all is well.
Namaste, my friends.
Namaste.
Thank you for a great service.